Hello everybody, my name is Nick. Welcome to Nick Video Tutorials. Today we will discuss a little bit about .NET Framework versus .NET Core in ASP.NET. ASP.NET, everybody probably know already. This video tutorial is addressed to the people who really know a little bit, at least, about ASP.NET, about software development, and about C# as a program language. So in this case, you can be an entry level, but to have a little bit of some knowledge, at least, about this, all this, or you want to learn now, So, what's going on? We have ASP.NET, people can do a website, a web application, using a lot of methods, a lot of tools, a lot of scripting part, and a lot of software, So in this case, they can use PHP, they can use HTML 4 or 5, they can use other applications, other software like Java. They can do also in Java some web applications. But in Microsoft technologies, for web part, we use ASP.NET. ASP.NET have a script. ASP.NET is a script who's, by the way, after that generating HTML to the client. Basically, you have a request and a response. When you access www.example.com, for example, I hope not to be that example.com, basically your browser goes and have a request to the server, to the web server, and saying, guys, there, who's the digits there? Hello? Knock knock, who's there? And the server says, yeah, who's there? And the web browser will say, I want this website, because the web server probably have hosted there 10 or 1,000 websites. So basically, browser, when you access www.example.com, server have a request from your browser, and as a response to your request, server will send data to the web browser. That's client server. Client is your browser and interface and what you see when you access as a user, and server side is basically the server, in general. Can be serverless if you use cloud, and in that case, it's in cloud, You don't need to develop server side. You need to develop only part of client and to use some microservices to discuss with the cloud who's already there and use it, to do something, okay? So in this case, this is a very short and basic presentation about ASP.NET, okay? Why .NET Framework and why .NET Core? .NET Framework was second, because first was .NET, and after that was .NET Framework. Basically, a lot of people work in .NET Framework since 1.1, let's say 1, and after that 2.0. Basically, from 2.0 you can update versions of .NET Framework. It's a platform, who support everything what is going on there. The same is with .NET Core. Differences are, since .NET Framework 4.6, .NET Core appear, and has been splitted a little bit. It was .NET Framework, and from version 4.6 appeared .NET Core, so was .NET Core 1, and .NET Framework continue to have other versions. So .NET Core 1, .NET Core 2, .NET Core 3, and so on. And .NET Framework continue to have 4.7 and so on, versions. .NET Core is the latest one. Everybody says the latest one. Yes, the latest one, but you must know when to use it, because I saw a lot of companies just jump in some new technologies, and they are not really prepared to jump. I saw a lot of software engineers or a lot of software or IT project managers who don't know what's going on with cloud. So they don't know exactly how to do and what to do, why to put .NET Core. They can go in cloud also with .NET Framework if they want, okay? When to use native cloud, when to use just hosted cloud, and so on. So basically, .NET Framework, platform, support everything, support that. Basically, you use system, and from system.web goes to have the web, and after that you have everything what's going on. This is here, this part here, you need to know a little bit about .NET development, you know, about programming using .NET. Okay, you have CLI, CLR, and so on. Basically, the differences between .NET Framework and .NET Core is .NET Core have a nano, a smaller part, and can load faster, can be used directly with cloud, can debug, have some other features, can debug in real time there. It's not necessary to recompile, go, and so on, you know. And why I put also there MVC design pattern, because a lot of people, unfortunately, they are middle or even seniors, say about MVC as a, I don't know, as a framework. I heard from framework, I heard from MVC wrapper, every MVC framework. But nobody said about MVC as a design pattern, structural design pattern. This is basically MVC. What I will do today, I will do a .NET, an ASP.NET web forms, old web forms, I know, everybody, web forms. Yes, but it's used also today. .NET, ASP.NET web forms, and after that we will see about MVC, why it's MVC as a design pattern, and after that we will see an ASP.NET with .NET Core. We will see here the differences between MVC as a design pattern and what is the structure in ASP.NET with MVC design pattern in .NET Framework, and ASP.NET with MVC design pattern as a structure in .NET Core. Applied. See, people, if people see what's going on there, people can understand. If just talk with the people and explain, and you know, and that, and that, and that, people will say perfect, brilliant, but what's going on? So, let's start to do something. What we need to do? First, to see Visual Studio. You know, in general, you can use Visual Studio, but you can use other editors, IDEs, integrated development environments, open source, or even if it's Visual Studio Community Edition, you can have Visual Studio Professional with money, yeah, or Visual Studio Enterprise also with money. We will discuss about differences between Visual Studios, you know, community have something, professional have more, compilation is better, and so on, functions in compilation, and enterprise have more than that. Basically, it's dedicated also for software architects, and there you can have also architecture part. Anyway, today we will discuss about ASP.NET web application. You can see here ASP.NET web application in .NET Framework. This is first, and after that we will use ASP.NET Core web application in .NET Core. But first of all, ASP.NET web application .NET Framework as a web forms. So let's say something like web application web ASP.NET web forms, ASP.NET web forms. We have here a path where to put everything. I will change it all the time, you know, I change that in the projects. I have here a name of solution. I will put another name because solution can have projects, but project can't have solutions inside. So a solution can have multiple projects. This will be one of the projects because it's pretty new, from scratch, from zero. It's not added in existing solutions. We will create another solution. So in this case, we say our ASP.NET solution. I think I put correct anyway. and we will use .NET Framework 4.7.2 create. And now we can create what you want. We can have an empty project. I mean, empty, scratch, nothing, zero, nada. Okay, web forms, MVC, just an API or a single page application. People who developed already a little bit, at least, they know empty, it's just empty, and you must put manually by you everything you need there. Web forms, it's what I discussed already. It's in web forms, and I will show you the structure for web forms. Okay, MVC, it's what I said, ASP.NET Framework as a platform, and MVC as a design pattern. Okay, and Web API and a single application is something else. A Web API is to create an API to discuss as a web service, and single page application generally for presentation in just one page. It's not necessary to have a home page, contact page, other page, about me page, about him page, about other page, pictures, and a lot of ASPX as a pages, you know. No, you have just one, and in just one page you have everything what's necessary, what is actually as a tree structure in other application. Okay, good. So we will use web forms for the moment. I will not configure with HTTPS. HTTPS is Hypertext Transport Protocol Secure. Okay, so I don't want to put a certificate on my IIS Express. For what? It's just a test. Okay, so for the moment I will create a web forms, can create MVC, can create API from scratch directly, very quick, in just one hand, to say like that. Okay, but I want just one, and after that to go in other way to show you the differences. Okay, this is the point, the main point of presentation, to show you the differences. Okay, so let's create this one, and we can see what's going on after scaffolding is done. I mean, after everything is put. Basically what I did do right now, create an entire structure for you. In other case, if you choose to have an empty project, you need to put all this manually. Okay, so takes time and you can do mistakes. Okay, so in this case it's directly created by ID for you as a structure, and you can see here we have the structure. Here is what we want to use in the right side of the screen. Okay, good. What we have here, we have one solution, one project. Okay, good. Let's see about this project. We can have connected services, that is connected services with cloud. If you want to connect with a service, just double click and check here what type of services you can have or support, or what's going on here. You can add a service if you want, like this, and have an entire list of services and so on. It's not necessary in this case. We have properties of the project, you know, equivalent of these properties. If you double click on that, it's just right click here and properties is the same. Okay, basically you see the properties of the project with application, build, web, package, security, and so on about your application, web application. Okay, and generally about the project. And we start to have something, references. Without references we can't work, you know, because we need to have at the end of this, basically are some DLLs, dynamic link libraries, who is generated or made already, exist in the system, in the platform, in the .NET platform, and you just use it in namespaces, you know, use it using system.web. You can have here system.web is there, okay, and so on. So basically these references is used in .NET framework. Okay, and you can have a lot of them. Yeah, we can have also system core, we can have also system web, we have a lot of Microsoft directly, you know, C#, because we will use C# as a programming language. And you know, in ASP.NET what is better, and the differences between an HTML web page and ASP.NET web page is this. an HTML page. You have just that, body or head, do something, blah blah blah, stop the head, start body, do something, blah blah blah, stop body, and so on. Okay. In ASP.NET, you have script of ASP.NET, and also in the back, you have C# as a programming language. So it's more than just scripting, just putting something there, presentation. You can do big functionalities, automation and stuff for that. It's very, very, very beautiful, this part. And what is also very good, in ASP.NET, you can do in C# in back, but everything will be generated as HTML, send it to the browser when the request is sent, as a request, as a response. So this is again is very beautiful. What is very beautiful again, and what when I saw a lot of developers not doing that. Security part, in general, security part, do it in C# in back here. Why? Because it's protected. People can't enter, hackers. It's different. If you do it into a script, let everything on the security on the server, and there you can have some chances. I want to say, ooh, good, I have a gate, I have something open there, I have a port open, and good, and something like that. So in this case, ooh, look, data. Don't let everything on cookies or JavaScript like JavaScript and stuff. If you have heavy duties to do in security, do it directly in programming language in C# in back. Okay? Good. So we have this part with references. We have two things to understand here in ASP.NET. Have interface, who is interface, a graphical representation, graphical part. When you access www.example.com, you access something. You will not see just data, just thing. By the way, also it's made for user, that domain name www.example.com, because you don't access 192.168.1.25 as an IP, because I don't think you want to see I want to see a live TV, but I need to go on 192.695. People say www.thattv.co.uk. It's equivalent. Okay, so the same here. We have an entire structure, but with two differences. Interface made for, I said that, for front-end developers, interface who's made by front-end developers in general, and backend made by backend developers. Again, I don't understand why. I understand why IT project engineers or IT project managers, they said all the time, when it's an offer for a job, because in general in IT, it's a lot of offers for jobs as a software developer. IT project manager says, we will work with MVC, good, but we want a full stack developer. Guys, why? Full stack developer, it's just one single point, one single developer who need to do both front end and also back end. MVC as a design pattern is designed, that's why it's design pattern, splitted the structure not to have both things in the same. In web forms, we have it. In MVC, we don't have it. It's splitted. We will see. Let's understand a little bit what's this structure here. We have application data. It's for data if it's applied there in application, links to databases or whatever is necessary. Application start, we have a bundle configuration of the application, what's there, and root, routing, what's going on in the root is here. It's very easy. It's just some root declared, and that's it, good. Here we start to have content. Content means interface. This is interface. Bootstrap. Bootstrap is based on CSS, Cascade Style Sheet. So in this case, Bootstrap basically do the interface. Okay, good. Fonts also interface. Scripts, scripting also interface. You can have Bootstrap, but you can have jQuery. The framework of jQuery is here. Why? Because you need it in case of you need to do something on interface. When you go, for example, on default ASPX, okay, and here you have something, you need to do something in jQuery, you know, to apply something. This, by the way, this is the script in ASP.NET. Can you see? And also you can use HTML. You can do a div with HTML or div in ASP.NET. This is ASP.NET. This is HTML. Okay. When you put with ASP.NET, it's ASP.NET. ASP.NET, that means it's ASP control. Okay. When you put directly something like div or whatever, that's HTML. Okay, good. So in this case, or can be in both, basically you can use also HTML, including HTML5 in ASP.NET web applications. So good, very good, right? Here we have, I said, we have Bootstrap, we have some web forms, okay, for as a, you see the extension GS, JavaScript. jQuery is a framework of JavaScript, okay? So we can use JavaScript directly as a framework or whatever, you know. Bootstrap is a framework of CSS, so we can use directly CSS or you can use directly Bootstrap, okay? So this is interface. And here we can have interface, SPX, and we can have in back C#. Okay, we have about. And also we have about as C#. You will see, I put just one here. And let's see. Here, okay, we have an about, something, blah, 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 script interface. We have something in back. And we have something as a designer. Okay. And basically designer will be generated if we put something like that. So basically in CS SPX.cs we have the back end. In front end we have an SPX directly. This is tricky. That's why they did MVC as a design pattern, because here is tricky. If you have two developers, one front end developer, I mean the guy who do only interfaces, he don't do nothing else. Basically, nothing to work, like like backend developers said. You know what front-end developers do something very nice, but not to work. Okay, what backend developers do something to work, but is not nice at all. So this is the interface and backend, but it's all together here. If you want you to work and also another guy to work, you can't, because it's in the same SPX, you know. That's why they split it. In the same time, someone who want to work in the front end and also in the back end to use it, to do it in the same time, okay, to be faster, not to have errors between that or implementation and so on. Okay, good. And what we have here, we have web pages, SPX. Pages are SPX. We have a master, you know. A master means a page who is linked all other SPX pages to this page. You will see the differences between that and how it is in MVC. Okay, it's the same. Have something like scripting SPX, okay, HTML SPX, and also something in CS, I mean in C#, you know. Good. So this is, oh, let's save it down. This is basically web application using ASP.NET web forms. So it's quite nice to know. Everybody must know also this. Now we will do another project. We will add another project. And this project is also a web forms here. Okay, let's put SPX. ASP.NET Okay, and we have ASP.NET Core, blah blah blah, and we start again to have something like a .NET framework in C#. Can you see? Because it can be Visual Basic or F# or whatever. C# is another programming language, and so on. Okay, good. So we have ASP.NET Web Applications in .NET Framework, and we said application ASP.NET MVC .NET Framework. To know, it's long. I know. I love these long lines. Some people say it's good. Some people say it's not good to have it. Depends how you see best practices. Best practices in programming. Okay, so in my case, I love to have into a title, a good description about what's going on. I don't like people who put in the title just EAP, EAE, or USSU. And I said, what's that? When they start every letter, basically it's an entire word, and I need to know somehow what that letter means in words, and words put it together. Wow, good. It's not good. It's not good if you have very short and other developer can't understand what's going on there. Or you put in short title and have a technical documentation, a good technical documentation, and other developer, in case of other developer, want to continue with what you did there or whatever, to fix if in case of a bug or something in TDD or something like that, they need to know. Okay, so we go on MVC. Also, it's .NET Framework. It's not .NET Core. It's .NET Framework, ASP.NET Web Application, .NET Framework, MVC. Okay, if you can check, it's ASP.NET Web Application, .NET Framework. Okay, good. MVC as a design pattern, structural design pattern. And now we'll add the scaffolding, we'll add the IDE to create another structure, of another project for us. So we have here web application in web forms, ASP.NET web form, and here ASP.NET MVC, but in web forms. Look the difference. You can see the difference. Probably yes, probably not. Oh, let's see, like this. The difference is this. I said we have interface like content, font, scripts, and so on. I said we have something in backend like this, and also in backend here. Can you see? This is a class. Okay, it's not property. It's a class. Okay, but also interface is this, and class is this. Basically, look, the class is this, interface is this. Okay, here we don't have like that. Here what we have connection to services, the same connection to services in both cases. Okay, properties in both cases. If you check the references, is the same in both cases. Also here we have web, but here we will have also web.mvc, because the IDE and compiler must know it's a difference, it's something else, And what we have application data also in this case, application start in both cases, it's back end. Here we have bundle config, filter config, and root config. Root, if you check the root here and you check the root here, you will see a difference. Let's put it somehow to make a nice difference. Can you see the differences? Big differences, believe me. Let's do something like show you. Here it's an entire representation of a root in MVC. Here it's an entire representation of a root in web forms. Okay, good. What we have more, we have content here, content here. Perfect. We have content here, yeah. We have content here. Yeah. Till now, the same. Good. What we have more? We have controllers. Here we don't have controllers anymore. In case of you can see done font scripts, and that's it. Basically fonts and scripts. You have it in both cases because it's part of interface font scripts. But what you start to have here is controllers. Model view controllers, you know. So basically we have controllers here because we need to have a model here who will generate also view here. So what we have, controllers and models are backend, views are front end. Can you see? Totally different, in totally different folders, totally different files. It's not linked like in this case. Basically view is equivalent of SPX, okay, and controllers and models is equivalent of what's in back here. Okay, now you see it's totally different. That's why I split it. That's why I don't understand IT managers. Okay, I understand it's for to optimize the budgets. That's why they want all in one, if it's possible, all in one, with BI, with big data, management, training, everything, driving planes, everything. I know that part. So what is here, basically we have views as an interface, as a part of front end, and models and controllers part of back end. Look, a controller for home, you see, home controller is basically for home as equivalent of home or default ASPX, you know, and have about, contact, and index. Index is its default SPX. You know, index it was in HTML. When you said index.html, you know, the web server knows that's the first page to go to enter. With that page, start everything, you know. Good. In ASP.NET web forms is not index like in HTML. It's default, okay. But in ASP.NET MVC, they start again to be with index as the name of the file, okay. And you see also the difference of extension. In ASP.NET web forms it's SPX, here it's CHTML. So this is the big difference. I'm not enter much deeper in what's going on there. Exists a lot of other differences, but at the moment as a basic presentation of what the difference is between that, I think it's quite beautiful to know. Okay, so till now we didn't discuss about .NET Core. We discussed only about .NET Framework. Okay, what I did an introductory part, web forms and MVC, and now we will create another project, the third one. I love that part with a lot of projects. Okay, the third one, who will be created, this project will be created in ASP.NET Core web application. Okay, let's do. We have in the same solution, yeah, location, and let's say ASP.NET Core MVC directly. Okay, what we have here, configure now, enable Docker, bang bang. What we have more now? We started to have something new, like a container. So if in ASP.NET using .NET Framework you can't use a container, very good, you know. Basically in ASP.NET web forms you can't use at all a container. You need to have a web server dedicated for Windows named IIS, you know. It's here, I will show you the web server was here. It's IIS is a web server equivalent in Linux of Apache, for example, you know, who host your web application and let and manage your application. In this case, in .NET Core, we can use or not Docker. Docker, if you check other video tutorials, my video tutorials. In other video tutorial I said, sorry, already, Docker, what's Docker, or what's going on with Docker. Okay, Docker is a container monitor. Basically, you have a container. What is a container? A container is a part who don't have an operating system, just put directly onto a virtual machine and run forest. Okay. In this case, in our case, we have Docker desktop, because software developers must develop something, you know, and must test locally, exactly like you had IIS Express as a web server when you debug, to say like that, not test, when you debug your application, when you develop something in your application. The same you need to have a Docker. Is this Docker engine starting, says right now. Okay, it's this Docker. Okay, Docker desktop in our case, but Docker in general, to have all functions. Docker desktop is equivalent of IIS Express, but not doing the same. I told you, Docker, it's a container monitor. I mean, we have a container. The container can be Windows or Linux. It's different. Check that video tutorial about Docker. Okay. IIS, it's a web server who hosts and manage a web application. Good. So what we have here, we have something like an application, web application, using .NET Core, using a container monitor. Okay, if you want to go more in this in cloud directly, it's Docker with full functions there in cloud, and there, if you want have more things and a lot of things, and you don't know from your head manually, to say like that, in your head what's going on, you need to have something who is an orchestrator, and that orchestrator can be Kubernetes. Sorry, Kubernetes is something else. Kubernetes. Okay, you can have Kubernetes, and Kubernetes orchestrate what's going on. Look, cloud already. Okay, so we enable the Docker, Linux, that can be in Windows, and let's create the application in .NET Core 3.1. It's long-term support, and also it's long-term support for in .NET Core. You know, you have also another part. You can choose .NET Core 2, .NET Core 3, .NET Core 3.1. I mean, you can choose in the list. Okay, good. So what we have here, we have .NET MVC, because I don't care anymore about web forms. Was just a different an introductory part to see what's going on in web forms in ASP.NET. After that, how goes to MVC, and now MVC ASP.NET MVC web framework, you know, in .NET framework, and web application ASP.NET Core with MVC as a design pattern. Now you can see as a developer, MVC, it's a structural design pattern. It's not a wrapper, it's not a framework. Okay, good. Here what we have something like connected services. Good. Dependencies are the X references. If in .NET Framework is references, here you will have dependencies. Basically, you have less, just some packages, you know. Look, some packages like frame, okay, with Microsoft ASP.NET Core. Can you see, in frameworks is not implemented MVC, so it's only .NET Core as an application. And some other packages like Microsoft Visual Studio Azure containers, in case of, basically we enabled, you know, in case of it's not enabled, this package is not available. It's for .NET, it's for Docker, sorry, you know, for Docker with Linux in our case. Good. Let me check a little bit to see if Docker is started already. I hope it started. I really hope it started already. Okay, so in this case, Yes, started. Woo! We have Docker here with everything. Look, good. So this Docker basically can be used in our web application through this package. Okay, good. If you go also in configuration, you will see where you have Docker. Look, let's go in configuration. Let's try to find an entire our part Docker. And here, if you check, you have where the Docker is used in your application. You know, to use an entire solution, not do just Control, Shift, and F. Because if you do Control F, you just search locally in what's open already. If you go Control Shift and F, you just find an entire solution. Okay. So have a Docker here in Docker file, having properties, some launch Docker. What kind of Docker we need to have? Look here. If we check and open, it's Docker with something. Can you see? This is the way our web application discuss with Docker. Good. Now what we have properties here, we have properties here. Perfectly agree. But till the properties, let's continue a little bit with dependencies. Can you see it's not so many things like here. That makes .NET Core to be faster. It's that part who let .NET Core to be faster. Also, .NET Core have some other features integrated already in the platform. Something discussed directly with the cloud. Have Azure Functions, for example, if you want, and you can use with that part, and so on. You know, you can have serverless or let's say a serverless part, or you can have a microservice. Directly, you know, even if it's not in Docker, you can do it in Azure Service Fabric, you know. Have a lot of other things. Basically, it's created a little bit for cloud. Okay, so what we have more here, we have properties like these properties. Okay, here we have all properties as an assembly. Here, properties basically is JSONized. Why is JSONized? Because a lot of people say, oh, it's JSONized, it's JSON, you know. Why here it's JSON and it's not like was in C#, for example, you know, in framework? Because if you start to see a little bit of CI, CD, continuous integration, continuous deployment, you will see there something like Cloud, Azure in our case, work with this. This is the script for to put, if you want, as a commands JSON for cloud. A lot of them is generated in JSON, it's implemented in JSON, and so on. A lot in cloud. So that's why it's directly to be used in cloud. Okay, good. What we have here, we have a root. www root, it's equivalent of www root in your IIS server, you know, for hosting. Basically what you have CSS, you have JavaScript and other libraries like a Bootstrap as a frame, jQuery as a frame. Can you see? It's beautifully arranged. jQuery validations and so on, you know, for our web application. Okay, good. What we have? We have pages. Here are the pages. These pages we shared and what's going on, it's equivalent of these views we shared. Can you see? Good. So what we have more, we have a JSON for application settings. This is internal application settings of project, you know. It's equivalent of web config. This is web config. Yeah, I know. Let's do it like this. This is web config. This is JSON for our application. It's the same to understand what's going on here. Okay, good. So after that we have program startup is the same. We have, you know, already, if you know to do a console application, you know, you have a program already, you know, with a main and startup, with everything what's going on to start. So here is not a big deal. Okay, good. This is the differences, big differences between .NET Framework, ASP.NET Framework, ASP.NET Web Forms in .NET Framework, ASP.NET MVC design pattern in .NET Framework, and ASP.NET Core. Some people says ASP.NET Core, other people says ASP.NET on .NET Core. It's the same. Okay, good. I hope was a good time spent it together now to understand a little bit about what's going on with ASP.NET, ASP.NET Core, what's going on there, where's there. Okay, we can discuss also another way if you want in the future. Just let me know. Put comments to every video tutorial there on YouTube, on my channel in YouTube. Put comments. Tell me if you want to know something, or you want to know more, or want to know something else, you know, or what's going on, and we can discuss. If you know something, put it there and we can discuss, and so on, you know. My name is Nick. Ladies and gentlemen, it was my pleasure also today to be with you. Till next time, see you, bye.